So it was April 22nd on Saturday, and I wanted to head out to the river so that I could see how my March planting went. Now, I didn't do a video on that, but it's basically what I do every year. I plant out a lot of different seeds in March, and I refresh my beds. So it looks like my calendula is coming up great. I had some carrots, and so those are coming up along with, there's a lot of dill in the garden. That's just reseeded from last year. And then I have some chives, which are blossoming. I've had this plant here probably 3 years now. And then I had planted some parsley, which was started indoors. And then I have some radishes. Of course, those were planted from seed. I'm making sure to save some room in the beds for my summer planting, because most of my summer planting is going to be in this little garden and not at home. I want to make sure to save some room in the beds, especially by the chain fence there, for things like tomatoes. That helps support my tomatoes. And then I have also room I want to save for green beans. I do a lot of bush beans in this garden. And so I also had some parsley that looks like it's doing pretty good. My spinach is up and growing. It looks like I will need to space those a little bit. They look like they're a little bit crowded, and that's just what happens when I'm not here to thin them, because y'all know I don't live here. And then I have my butter crunch lettuce looking great, along with the romaine lettuce as well. And then the turnip greens are up and growing. I just love to see that seeds are coming up. And then red core carrots, no seeds there, so looks like those seeds are probably not viable, so I'll toss them. And carrot seeds normally last anywhere from 3 to 4 years, and I'm not sure how long I've had those. I have some more spinach that's looking great, along with my red thumb potatoes. Those are up. And then I put a Chinese cabbage here last time I visited. There are some holes in the leaves that could be from slugs, and then the yellow leaves there on the outside, I'm not worried about that. That just kind of tells me as a gardener that that plant is rooting down, so I'm not too concerned about the yellowing leaves there at the bottom. So now I probably should have done this on my last visit to the garden in March, but I just didn't have time, and that is I needed to pull out some of these plants which overwintered. Most of this is cilantro. I cut back a lot of this and gave it to the neighbors on my last visit. I'm going to go ahead and pull out a lot of these, and I'll save some of the roots for some Thai paste. I'll make that later. But I want to go ahead and make sure to get out the mature plants along with the spinach, because the spinach looks like it's about to bolt as well. And these overwintered great. As a matter of fact, this garden is at a higher elevation, and it gets a little bit colder than my home garden. So I was glad to see that all these did very well without cover or anything like that. Now, I do want to point out, if the cilantro was growing in my native soil and I had plenty of room, I would probably just let it go to seed. You know, that turns into coriander, like I explained to you in the cilantro growing video, and then it would reseed, and that's great. That's what actually happens at my home garden. But I love the soil mixture in these square foot garden beds, and it really helps me do succession plantings for things like carrots and spinach and bushing green beans and all these little things I love to grow from seed. They just come up so wonderfully in the soil. So I don't want to take up a lot of garden real estate, valuable garden real estate, to grow a plant that I'm just going to let go to seed. And it takes a long time for that process to occur. So a lot of times I just like to go ahead and pull it out so I can plant something else behind it, which is exactly what I'm going to do with these onions. They're about to go to seed. I'll pull out probably 75% of these. I'll leave just a few behind. Again, I would like to start a little patch of evergreen bunching onions in my native soil, just because that would be great to have those just go to seed, drop seed, and have just a little patch of those at all times. But I like to have this right outside my door, because a lot of times I cook in the evening after dark, and I like to have it right there where I can jump out and get them if I'm cooking. Whenever I'm pulling out plants also, I like to make sure that I get as much of the soil off of the roots that I can, because this is, you know, pretty good soil, and I don't like to just compost it if I can help it. So I'm going to leave a few of the scallions here behind. So I basically just went back. I did some more succession plantings of carrots and spinach and watered those in. But of course I do have to rely a lot of times on just rainfall out here to get my seeds up. So here in the front, the echinacea is coming back beautifully, and then right next to it I have my little patch of spearmint. So that's starting to look pretty good there too. Now in the back, in the big garden, my asparagus is coming up everywhere, and the only unfortunate thing about not living here is that I have to kind of cut the asparagus big and small. So some of these are really tiny spears, and then sometimes I grab these really big ones like this. So anyway, I'll just get what I can when I come out. This is what I ended up with: some cilantro roots, some spinach, some onions, and then of course the asparagus, and I grabbed a few chive blossoms as well. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to help you. And thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.